Munira is a passionate diversity, equity, and inclusion professional. Over the last 13 years, she has worn various hats in managing global HR and DEI. Her expertise and passion are at the forefront of promoting a diverse and inclusive workplace. Saraswati Kasturirangan, or Saras as she prefers to be addressed, is a vocal advocate for gender balance, equality, holistic well being, and a happy and stress free workplace. Her purview extends to all the aspects that propel happiness amongst the workforce. Usha Pillai, the moderator, has over 30 years of experience spanning several industries. She has played several roles from being a trainer, CRM specialist, profit center head, head of service delivery to being a chief operating officer. She believes in continuous learning, evident in the fact that she has completed her MBA with XLRI after 15 years of working and has been certified in MBTI, strong and posh awareness. Over to you, Usha, for the panel.
And a warm welcome to all our panelists. Can I request everyone to please come on video and audio unmute? Thank you. Thank you, Jay. We will be joined shortly by, yes, there we are. Okay, good to go. Thank you and a very warm afternoon. So today, as Jani said, we delve into the evolving narrative around maternity in the workplace. Most of us here are mothers, or the panelists too, exploring how we can transform the challenges of motherhood into opportunities for empowerment. Historically, many women have faced career setbacks. Most of us here on the panel have more than 2 decades of experience, and we have faced it too. So, and not just due to maternity leave, but also due to related biases. Now, however, as we look around, we are witnessing a shift as many organizations have recognized the value of inclusive policies and support systems. So our esteemed panelists here today will share their insights on innovative practices that not only support working mothers, but also enhance overall workplace culture. And together, all of us, we're going to discuss strategies to redefine maternity as a powerful force for both individuals and organizations. So let's embark on this 45-minute journey towards fostering a more equitable future for all. So the flow of the session is going to be, I will be asking a common question to all the panelists, followed by specific questions to each one of you. And then we'll conclude with a common question. So the first question I'd like to ask is, what role do workplace policies like, for example, parental leave, flexible hours, childcare support, play in transforming maternity from a penalty to power? Can you share examples of your company where you have successfully made the shift or have seen others make the shift? So I'd like to start with you, Saraswati. Over to you.
Thank you, Usha. And it's been wonderful to be part of this esteemed panel. Very honored to see the co-panelists here, and absolutely wonderful initiative by myAvtar, I must say. So let me start with what you said. And I think my title itself intrigues many people in terms of being called a Chief Happiness Officer. While it is an envious title, it comes with a lot of responsibility. And one thing that we aim to do, and I think your question was more about policy, I would like to extend my answer to both policy as well as culture. So while we talk about maternity related policy, we give childcare benefits, we work a lot on getting women to return back to work. And all of these are important. What is more important is the tone adopted while scripting these policies. So, for instance, when we talk about maternity policy, we also go along with it, goes hand in hand as a paternity policy, where we give a significant period of leave for the fathers as well. So, this clearly edges, or in a way, we are nudging our professionals who are parents, both as mothers as well as fathers, to say that you have your responsibility, do take this break. What we also do along with that is sort of, and this is something that we've launched very recently, about I think 6 to 8 months back. We've launched something which is called the Baby Steps. So, Baby Steps is a program which we launched with a view to see how can we really give support to parents, and I consciously use the word parents, both mothers who are in the family way as well as fathers whose spouses are in the family way, to see how can we support them during the stages of parenting and even during the stages of pregnancy. So this is a 12-month program that we've initiated. This will support the professionals and their spouses, and it will offer emotional support. And how do we do that? Through a dedicated maternity counselor who's accessible to these individuals. It's even accessible through WhatsApp, email, so it's multi-modal kind of approach. And it includes about a 12 one-to-one counseling sessions. The mother can take these sessions. There are 4 specifically dedicated sessions for the spouse or the partner, and it provides diet nutrition sessions, and we customize the kind of sessions to the stage in which the parenting is. So it could be pre delivery, that is the first trimester, second trimester, and so on. And post delivery, we look at which month of the, how old is a child and which stage is a child, and then tune to that we give counseling. We also give the counseling also includes personalized coping strategies to help professionals to navigate the challenges, and also to challenges of pregnancy and childbirth, plus also how does one confidently return to work. So I think this program is something that has helped us to get the professionals, which I thought was a little unique. And we do have the other policies as well in terms of maternity benefits, the child care, the creche facilities, and so on. What the other thing that we also look at is once a mother comes back to work, from a talent and learning perspective, we have specific sessions to get them to get attuned to the work. And this would include both hardcore technical skills, because they would have missed out a bit on technical updates, plus also on soft skills. And leaders, maybe like me and a lot of others, actually talk to these returning women on how we've navigated our journey, no post maternity. How did we get back to work? So basic no nudges like stop feeling guilty if you're away from your child will manage. So these kind of messages to getting them to understand that you don't have to micromanage everything, manage things by exception. So we give these kind of guidances to them. And in parallel, we also focus a lot in terms of developing a culture within the organization. So during many focus group discussion, the key message that we give is when somebody is pregnant, don't presume. Don't presume that they cannot lead a project. Don't presume they cannot travel. They may need help, but ask. Ask them what is the help that you want and give those. And don't paint all of them with the same brush. I think these are some of the things that we are doing. And I know I can talk a lot more, but it's important to hear from the others as well. So I will pass it back to you, Usha.
Thank you very much, Saraswati. I think here is where we are seeing experience and wisdom. Stop feeling guilty. I know it's easier said than done for all of us mothers out here. It's like somebody said, when the baby comes out, the guilt goes in, and how old the child is, you don't stop feeling guilty. And of course, the other big takeaway is, apart from your baby steps program that you said, is sensitizing the environment is so very important, not just for the expectant mothers, but also for their supervisors to say that this is what you
I
can
think
expect.
one thing I missed there, Usha, was that the baby steps also has a counseling session for the manager. When you
Right.
talked about sensitizing the environment, I
Mhm.
thought I missed calling that out. See, it's so important for the managers to understand how much do I push, how much do I
Right.
stay back, and
Yeah.
also for them to feel comfortable talking about it. Many of them may not have had the experience of dealing with professionals who are in the family way, right? So, sensitizing them, coaching them. So, I think that is also something that's included in baby steps.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing, Saraswati. Now I'd like to ask Jayati about what your company does to ensure that you transform maternity from penalty to a power.
A very, very strong statement that is, Usha, and thank you for inviting me in today. Thank you for being in this panel and such a well thought through title for today's inauguration session. What I see is I mean, I go back to 2.5 decades. I'm seeing that there's a slow shift as to how we look at maternity for a working woman, from being a penalty to a par. It's a new beginning. Like you said, it's a nai shuruat, which is so true. But we are moving. We are moving into a powerhouse, I would say. The way we look at Philips is no two careers, no two journeys are alike. Just like a forest with hundreds and thousands of trees and no two leaves, no two growth of trees are alike, so do we believe that no two journeys are alike. That's at the crux of how we take careers and how we build careers. Whether somebody is taking a career break, maternity, or any other thing, short-term assignments can be getting back. We have gigs at Philips. We encourage talent to look at growth just like a tree. That's at the crux of it. Now, if I really go deeper into it, the way I would look at Philips is we've taken a much more holistic approach. Um, we've launched the pregnancy care program for our expecting mothers. Even before that, I have to say that at Philips, care means the world to us. So if I look at our range of services and the solutions that we give, from the obstetrician's office to the hospital to the home, we are delivering the next generation of care to mothers and children in the most sustainable way, and the innovative way too. Whether it's ultrasound machines, whether it's fetal and maternal monitoring, we have a whole range of products there to support all mothers in this world. We have the Philips Avent infant feeding bottles. Let me tell you, I never had this experience when my child was growing up 20 years ago. Today, Philips Avent infant feeding bottles, breast pumps, and a lot of those product lines is what we take out to all our customers. That's one part of it. So at the crux of it, we believe that this is something that has to be strengthened. Beyond this, we understand that it is important that we really look at it from a much more end-to-end way for all our employees. Like I said, we have the 18-month support for all mothers, right from the 9 months during the pregnancy, and then another 9 months after pregnancy. We've tied up with external agency to really support us exactly the same way as Saraswati called out, supporting in counseling, supporting in augmentation of skills if possible in different ways, supporting in terms of a whole lot of material for them to really go through to bring up a child in the most confident way. We've also introduced what we call an integration process as they come back, return to work. And that, of course, includes a sensitization of the team that is there within the organization, the manager and the rest of the participants. It's not just the manager, it's also the entire surrounding that she comes back to. And of course, on the other side, the paternity piece, yes, we strongly believe that it's not one person, it's not only the mother that goes through the change, it's also the spouse, the father that goes through the change. And so the entire support system around it. I do agree that this is a change that we're just starting to do, and there's a long way to go. I do also agree that I have had conversations with my extended team going on maternity, coming back and saying that I feel uncertain right now. And I think each one of us in this room have an extra mile to go to really make the person feel confident that this is a step in life that one is decided to take, and so has to take it along with a career. It's not an option of this or that, and give that confidence to the person and to ourselves as managers to really embrace it in the best way. So I think that shift in behavior, in understanding, in approach is a baby step again for all of us. And I'm sure there will be a day when we will see that it's all integrated and works beautifully. Meanwhile, to all expectant mothers or with mothers with children, of course, guilt is one big piece. Just throw it out of the window. I can tell you from my experience that when I asked my daughter, how did you feel that I was never there to receive you when you came back from school, or for you to go when you were going to school either? You know, she says, I was always proud of you, Mom. I never missed it. So I can assure you that throw away all the guilt of not being in office or being in office either. Be confident, ask what has to be asked, come forward with suggestions, and this kind of panel that we have are all receptive to getting more and more new ideas to incorporate into our corporate world.
Thank you so much, Jayati, for that. Yes, didn't realize that it's not just internal, you also address the external, your products that Philips has from the doctor's office to home and which is sustainable. Thank you very much for sharing. I'd like to pose this question to Divya Mathai. Please, Divya, if you could share your policies.
Yes. So I think the first thing is to ensure that there are no re-entry barriers for someone who's returning back to work. Do they have a role? Do they have responsibilities that were commensurate with their experience and as they were leaving the firm? So having a supportive work environment in terms of the team, managers, sensitization, we have programs throughout the year for multiple participants to take part in. And of course, in terms of having policies that are equitable to avoid having the stereotype that only women can be primary caregivers, and having equitable parenting policies aligned with the maternity policy for the fathers as well, or the partner. And in terms of having other support system, in terms of transportation, making sure that you have the right leadership buy-in for this individual, and to be able to make that environment there so that they're able to thrive and grow in their careers. Uh, Apart from that, of course, in terms of having investments in them. So at various levels of their career, what is the investments we're making in their growth and in their leadership journey at the firm, giving them multiple opportunities through mobility and other such options that are given to any other employee at the firm. So making sure to what I think Saraswati mentioned is to not treat them differently, but to treat them at par and not make assumptions on what they can and cannot do. Having programs like a returnship program where we are able to hire women who've taken a career break and are looking to join the organization, first go through an internship to sort of reacclimatize into a working environment and then to get back to a full-time career if the expectations of the individual and the roles are aligned. In terms of having facilities on site, so I mentioned transportation, but outside of that, either having a childcare center on site, which we have here, or a tie-up in locations where we do not have an on-site childcare center. Having wellness facilities, as the other panelists mentioned, in terms of support through an expectant parent program, wellness rooms, lactation facilities, etc. And then most importantly, I think during that journey of having a child, through whatever means that may be, and as you go away on your break, and then when you come back, to have the right support system and to have a lot of dialogue with the individual to understand what do they really need, and for the manager and teams and for us in HR to be supportive of that, be it flexible work arrangements. Our offices are pretty much back to office all days a week. But do they need any flexibility? Do they need any other sort of alternative arrangement, especially in the duration that they're transitioning back to work full time? How can we make that possible for them? And also at any point in time to remain engaged with this population for a 2-year window at a minimum, to see how we can partner with them, provide mentorship to them with other parents in the firm, so they have a good journey and a good experience when they're coming back to the firm as well.
Thank you, Divya. I think what you summed it up, you started off by saying that you remove the re-entry barriers. That's so important because after pregnancy, typically the hormones play havoc in a woman's body, and those hormones can make a very self-confident, perhaps overconfident performer to feel as though she has missed out something, making her feel less important or less confident. So removing re-entry barriers, invest, whether it is, mobility, whether it is childcare center, and you touched upon saying seeking feedback. Keep checking on them whether everything is all right, whether there's some extra support they would need. So thank you for sharing that, Divya. Munira, I would like to now pose the same question to you.
Thank you, Usha. Just lovely to hear from Saraswati, Jayati, and Divya about all the great practices they have. I think we all resonate with the similar practices across. But in particular, I want to talk about So we literally celebrate motherhood in the organization. We have the Creche and Nanny, so which is one of the most distinctive policy and program that we've built in for our employees. And now why I say employees is because now we started with women, but we have now extended Creche and Nanny support to our male employees as well. We provide creche facility, whether if it's in the premise or we have tie-ups in the across other creches. Also, if people are, if a woman is not keen on picking up the creche and wants to pick up a creche which is near to her premise or her home, then she's able to do, we have the facility of that you can go and take your own creche of your choice. We will reimburse you. So we give about 10,000 rupees per month for creche and 8,000 rupees for nanny. So in case you don't want to put your child under a creche and you want nanny support, then the woman also gets nanny allowance of 8,000 rupees for till the child is 6 years of age. So this policy, I think we launched it about 3 years ago, and it's one of the best policies that's been working. We've seen the impact of the policy and the benefits that people have come out. It actually shows that how important it is for the organization to bring women back to workforce. So when you talk about, what are the programs and how these facilities really help us to bring what is the difference in maternity penalty and power, this is what it shows that demonstrates clearly that we want our women back to work and we value their talent. Like I said, this year we've extended the creche and nanny to single fathers, considering they are also primary caregivers, and we want to see how we can actually then move on to giving it to all employees. Gradually, we want to move to that phase. Along with creche and nanny, we also provide travel support. So if a child is up to 3 years of age, the employee can take the child and the nanny for any travel, any business-related travel, international, domestic, whatsoever. We also provide about the moment the employee really talks about that, yes, she's pregnant and she declares that she's pregnant, from that day onwards till she goes on maternity, there is travel support, conveyance support that is given to the employee of 1,500 rupees per day that we provide so that, we make sure that, when she's coming to work, she's at ease, she can take a cab, she can take taxis and come to work. We, of course, have additional maternity leave, which is in addition to their regular statutory maternity. After that, if they still want to extend their maternity, we provide extended maternity leave. After that, we provide flexibility, and we have offices all across, and a woman can actually pick up any satellite office which is closer to her premise and be working from there for the next 1 year. Also, the one entire year, the working hours are flexible. So these are certain supports that we've built in. We, of course, have, as Aditya Birla Capital, one of our businesses is health insurance and wellness. So we provide a lot of benefits and facilities for women, from psychological support, from well-being support. We run sessions on with to-be mothers, with new mothers, with women who have infant. So with different life stages of a woman and the child's age, we have multiple sessions that we run across throughout the year. It's a year-long calendar for women. We also have Mom's Cafe, which is one of the most interesting network of women where they connect with each other. They share tips and tricks. If they want to sell, it's also a marketplace. If they want to sell any products, so it becomes like a marketplace. So there's a huge bonding that we have been able to build with women who are in the same stage of life amongst each other through Mom's Cafe. We have, when a woman goes on maternity leave, there is a constant check that we do after 1 month of leave, after 2 months of leave, after 4 months of leave. So we keep a check. So there are 4 sessions check that we do. We do a call with them. Apart from the call that HR does, apart from the call that managers do, there is a dedicated team that works on this particular piece where we connect with women to just keep a check on them as to how are they feeling. Is there any support that they need from us? Are they connected with their managers? Are they getting enough information about the organization? What is happening with in the organization? What is happening in their function and all of that? So there's a constant check that we do. It really helps us to understand that, you know, our managers connecting, is HR connecting with them? Is there anything else they need? So I think
Sure.
these checks really help us to understand and keep them engaged. Plus, also, there are times a 6 months of break is really long. And sometimes they also go on for 9-month break because of the extended and additional maternity. They also feel that I don't know what's happening in the organization. I don't know what's happening. Yes, my manager calls me, but I don't know overall what's happening. So we give
So,
them some information about what
right.
happens in the organization and what's happening with the business and stuff. So that
Great.
happens.
Great.
So yeah, these are certain things that we do. But of
So I
course,
think what's coming out, Munira, in what you're sharing with us is that there's a great deal of intentionality, whether it
yes,
is looking at single fathers, whether it's giving the choice of place for the woman employee when she gets back to work after a year, having this self-help group, which is called Mom's Cafe. Excellent. These are some great initiatives. I think a lot of food for thought for people here. Thank you so much for sharing. If I may just move on to the individual questions now. Saraswati, in your vast experience of 3 decades, um, you would have come across many, many teams across geographies. So, how do factors such as race, socioeconomic status, and geographic location affect the maternity experience? In our own case, I mean, if you look at India, I mean, we have different stratas of society, we have people coming from different states. And in your experience, and one is if you could share some examples of that, and how do we ensure that maternity empowerment is actually inclusive to all women, irrespective of their background?
It's a very, very wonderful and very thought out question, I must say, Usha. And in practice, and I just experienced this about a couple of weeks back when one young mother walked up to me and no sort of shared, saying that I said, "How are you think? How are things going with you?" And she was participating in one of a very intense presentation. And at the end of it, I said, "Hey, you did a great job. How are things going with you?" She said, "From a work perspective, things are going well, but when I participate in these kind of projects where there is a lot of investment required in terms of my time, the question she gets from her family is, are you sure your child will not forget you?" Oh my God, imagine the emotion that a mom will go through when somebody turns around and asks her this question. So she said, it's easy to navigate the workplace, Saras. The problem is, how do I get over when people who are very close to me do not give me that support? And the immediate family will definitely provide the support, but it's a wider family who puts their nose into these kind of situations and makes the mother feel that no, she needs to take a step back. In my mind, and this is something that we are doing, and one of the initiatives that I've started in Deloitte is leading with heart. So when we get into a lot of DI is absolutely important, and it is much beyond thinking about gender, LGBTQ plus, and persons with disabilities. It is getting people from diverse backgrounds and diverse cultures integrated, and hence it's important that our policies and our conversations. And this is where I think the manager sensitization comes in very important and relevant, is that it's important for them to recognize that the kind of background somebody who's coming in from could be very different from what we have experienced. And this could range from very conservative to very no forward kind of thoughts. So I have seen mothers working through their maternity. Would you believe, even till the last date of maternity, there are mothers who work, and we have to keep telling them, are you okay? Please chill. Two situations where there is a total blackout. We might try to reach out to them during their maternity period and extended maternity as well, to make them feel included. But they are just not responsive because there's a lot of pressure from the family to say that your focus is on the child, that can come in later. So I think understanding that there is a diverse need is the first no first step, and then sensitizing their immediate managers. In many of these times, we encourage the managers to go and visit. So there is a gift hamper that comes from the firm when somebody delivers a baby. So in situations, we say that can this gift hamper be delivered by the immediate no work group? So they make a visit, go home, and then they get a sense of the culture, saying that how is this person's family different from the others? So then whatever response you do, whatever, because we don't want to blunder our way through with a set of policies which says, hey, we reach out to you, we tell you this is way how you come back, but we put in that extra amount of sensitivity to say that can we tune this return back to your requirements and to your extended situation. And it is more like letting the person know that, hey, we are here for you. We are here to tell you stories of how similar placed women have been able to get back. And those can be wonderful learnings for you. I saw a raised hand, so I'll pause here and we'll see whether there are any thoughts there.
Thank you very much, Saraswati. I think what's come out in what you've said is it's so important to sensitize the immediate team and the manager, and checking what is the background of the woman employee who's gone on the maternity break and coming back, and that there are diverse needs from families, yes, and this the support system has to be from the immediate team. And you had mentioned that women, some women actually work till the last day. Maybe we have one such panelist. We have Divya, who has worked till the last day of her. I mean, she just, I think, packed her bags and walked straight into the hospital. So anyway, that's Divya. Will come to that. But I'd like to know, ask Jayati a question. One, we've been looking at it internally so far. So how can we shift the societal perceptions outside society around maternity, from viewing it saying that, oh, now you become a mother and now you got to take there, you got to be the saying that you have to be with the child, and from actually moving from viewing it as a penalty to recognizing it as a source of strength and empowerment for women in the workplace, despite the fact that she undergoes so many psychological changes, physiological changes. So how can we shift that, Jayati?
Excellent question again, Usha. I think if I really look at the society and per se, let's focus a little about India. Yes, women face unique challenges when returning to work or during the maternity period, and as the child grows up, you know, caregiving being synonymous with the mother. Um, what I would like to call out is, yes, we're seeing a shift again. I do not want to be really regressive in my thinking, saying that there's no shift. There is a shift. I started my career, then we had just 3 months pregnancy, maternity benefit. I remember my mother-in-law said that she had a month's maternity benefit way back, and now we have a minimum of 26 weeks, which can be extended. Most companies do have an extended policy of benefits on the maternity, which is an extremely good step taken way back in 2017. And I'm sure working mothers are really leveraging this. However, there is still a lot more to do. Basically, around the societal pressures, the community pressures that come in as the mother continues to go to work or joins back at work. I think from a corporate side, we all play a very, very critical role in reinforcing her confidence. And like all of you said, I think today most companies, Philips at least does it very well, engages with the employee to really take them through that process through multiple kind of interventions. The psychologist being there to listen to understand what the person is going through, reinforcing that this is a stage in life and there is no concern around not getting back what you were earlier. All those conversations are absolutely critical. Then second, this creating of the ERGs or the ERG groups. I think it is helping my company a lot to bring the mothers together to discuss about the problems and really handle them in a much more progressive way. And third, a big piece is sensitizing the people around, Uh, I would also like to move our focus a little more, not just focusing on maternity and people coming back from maternity. Today, we see the WHO estimates a huge population, suggests that about 48 million couples are going through infertility globally. And this impacts lot of individuals and couples and families extensively. I think the big step is to see how organizations do also support this group of people, you know we've brought in IVF as one of the things to support through our insurance interventions. And we see that there is a good take of people who are actually availing this benefit too. And when you said societal pressures, there's a connection between all of them. So I personally feel that many of us are going in the right trend. Like Tarun said it's different stages for many corporates, but there's always that bell to ring. And through this kind of a program, I'm sure there are lots of people listening to and ringing that bell in their mind to go back and incorporate a lot of this. So that's how I will put it. To overcome the societal pressure, I think employees have to come forward, avail all the benefits that are there. We all spoke about guidance. Guidance is important, right from gynecologists to psychologists, dietitians, lactation consultants. I mean, they're all there. Physiotherapists, all of them are there. It's right now for our working mothers to come back, avail those benefits, and make sure that they're clear in their mind that nothing can push them back.
Thank you. Thank you, Jayashree. I think one major society perception that we can change, like you rightly said, is caregiving is only by the mother. That's a huge shift. Actually, there should be a movement we should start saying caregiving is not just by the mother. And the fact that you have ERG groups and the kind of pressures that women themselves face when we come back to the workplace. Thank you for sharing. Divya, in your opinion, what cultural changes within workplaces are necessary to support women in turning their experiences into career advancements? So if you could share, from your vast experience on how you converted your experience into a career advancement, that will be a great takeaway for us.
Thank you. I think one thing that most teams face when someone takes a parenting break is that they don't have this person on seat who's doing this job, or they may need to step away at various points to be able to take care of themselves or their family. Supporting that particular team and that particular manager in that journey, so like a manager program in terms of how to navigate through a team member having a child or going through a particular situation, as well as supporting them through a resourcing option in terms of either hiring someone additionally, or as I mentioned, mobility. It's also a great opportunity for other individuals in the firm to take a short-term assignment and to experience something else and have a learning opportunity. That releases or reduces the load on the existing team and manager when someone is stepping away for a parenting break. That I think in the manager and the team's eyes then creates a positive environment on how they are experiencing it and how the individual is likely to experience it coming back. Mentorship. So for an individual who's coming back to work, having an opportunity to hear from other people's experiences, especially those who may be in a similar career stage, similar level in the organization, have maybe gone through similar challenges in the recent past. We pair up most of our expecting parents who have shown an interest with a parent who has recently returned back to work as well, and is able to give them that right guidance and advice, because even listening to them and giving them that input is extremely helpful. I think for me, a sort of an aha moment was when I was sitting as an audience member and a senior speaker stood on stage and spoke about how it was difficult having a child and the reintegration back to work. And there were moments when the person felt like they were falling apart, wanted to resign multiple times. But I think the one thing another speaker said in a different session that stayed with me and stayed with me even up to now is about how you can choose to be who you are and the role that you have at any given point in time. You will always be a sibling, a parent, a child, a mother, a father, uh, at any 24 hours of the day. But you can at that point choose or prioritize your time of where you need to be at that time. That for me was very empowering because during the day I choose and I prioritize where I need to be at a given point in time. And the firm that I work in also supports that extremely well. And we also have like affinity networks, women network, etc., that some of the other panelists spoke about as well. But basically, having a lot of support in place to help someone transition back to work culturally as an organization becomes really important.
Wonderful. Thank you, Divya. I think you put it very nicely. Identify the team where there's going to be a break, a team member going on a break, acknowledge that and support. So having your manager programs in place and that aha moment, choose to be who you are. All of us as women, and especially working mothers with that, tags as working mothers, we all have different avatars to play as a colleague, as a supervisor, as a manager, as a team member, coupled with that, we have calls, we have interactions where we are a mother, a sister, a daughter, a daughter-in-law, a wife. Choose to be who you are at that moment. Thank you. That's a very powerful takeaway for me personally. Thank you for that. So, Munira, Divya did speak about a little bit on mentorship, but I would like to ask you, how important do you think is mentorship and peer support in helping new mothers navigate the transitioning back to work?
I think it is. I think mentoring and peer support is important across, but even for new mothers, it's really important because the thing is, at that point in time, one, they've taken a break. Okay, they're completely out of work and they've taken a break. Now they want to come back. And when a woman wants to, or an employee would want to come back, it is about the whole apprehension that you may have. What am I going to do? How am I going to manage? How am I going to manage my work and my life now? Because, I'm a new mother. I need to actually balance both. And especially it will work best if you are having a mentor or a peer who's actually been through that cycle, to really take that from them, to understand that yes, they went through it as well, and how did they navigate through challenges. It will help me as well to move ahead. I think there is a constant whether whatever type of break that you take, whether it's a maternity break or any other break that you take in your career, moving back, understanding the whole nuances of work again does take effort. And in that, when you have like people around you and a person who is constantly guiding you to really say that, yes, you are able to manage both work and uh, a family, because you know how it is. Mothers are always guilty, right? When they leaving their child at home and coming. So with that guilt, plus they also want to really now want to work and make sure that, they're putting that 100% of the time that they have missed out of being on maternity. I think both of these really conflict their minds. And at that point in time, you need somebody to really balance that out for you. And that's where, mentoring really helps. Or peer learning helps definitely. Through our Moms Cafe only, we've seen that how peer learning helps. We actually run a mentoring program within the organization for women who have come back from maternity. And we've seen that how they really understand that, yes, it's not just me who's going through these phases of life, and it's not just me who feels like this, but there are others who felt like that, and how they've challenged, how they've navigated has helped me to move ahead. So yes, it's really, really important.
So, I mean, for us, been there and done that. Anybody who's been there and done that, and it's like saying, if she can do it, I can do it. That confidence comes from there, not from a superiority point of view, but that confidence saying that yes, I mean, we all look for role models. We may not state it, but we all look for women role models who have made it. Thank you, and all of us here are role models. So kudos to that. And yes, I've had Royce telling us that we have a few minutes to close. It's been great engaging. So I'd now like choose to invite questions from the audience. If you can just perhaps, Roy, what would you suggest? Ping it on the chat window and we can take the questions. Okay, I can see one attendee who's raised a hand. I'm going to wait for a few more seconds because I want that one piece of advice from each one of the panelists before we sign off. to the women out here, what is it that one piece of advice you would give? You know, from whether it's maternity, but one piece of advice that you would also tell yourself, take away from this session. So, yes,
I could
generally,
go
I think,
first.
yes, okay. If I could just have that one piece of advice, then generally I'll come to you from the chat box. Yes, please, Saraswati, if you could.
For me, it is be comfortable with yourself. So it's just learn to love yourself, accept yourself as you are. You can't have everything, but that doesn't matter. Whatever you choose, be happy with your choice. Don't keep revisiting it. So it's more just love
Yes,
yourself, be
yes.
yourself, accept yourself as you are, and believe that you are the best.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yes,
Usha,
yes,
likewise, I think if
yeah.
I have to go through that experience again, I would go with a big, broad shoulder to say that I will do what I'm loving to be doing. And of course, maybe also spend that time partly in learning. I mean, today learning is in my hand, in my capacity. If I get a little time, I should be able to learn so that I can come back like a springboard with new opportunities for myself.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Divya?
I would say invest in yourself, take care of yourself. So if it means you need to hire someone to take care of the child, you need somebody else to cook and clean, and it takes a village to raise a child. So lean in on your support system, because the more support you have for every single thing that you don't need to do, you're taking care of yourself and you're investing in yourself. And that will help you stay the course, because there'll be multiple points you may consider giving up something. And if you have the right support system around you, at home in particular and at the workplace, it'll keep you there and you'll probably not give up if you have that right support system. So take
Great.
care of yourself.
Yes, thank you. Munira, what would you suggest?
I think I echo with all of you. I think it's about just, make use of the ecosystem that you have. I mean, it's always ask for help and take that help when you get it. There are many times women actually don't even when they get it, they feel that, okay, let's not do it. I do that many times as well. But I know that how it is, how easy my life becomes when I seek help and I, take that help from people. And I think believe in yourself. You are here for a reason. You've proved yourself. And I think it's just about believement. The moment you believe yourself, you're taking the right direction.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we have accept yourself, learn, keep learning, invest in yourself, and fourth, ask for help. Fantastic. Now I'll open it out for questions. Janani, over to you.
Yes, ma'am. There are quite a few questions. The first one comes from Veena to Munira. From your experience working with women who have re-entered the workforce after a maternity break, has it brought in a positive change in the women attrition percent at your organization? So that's addressed to Munira.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this question. Yes, I mean, we've seen a good shift in our attrition numbers going down, especially for women who have come back from maternity. I think I would say the policies that we've built in the last 3-4 years has really helped us to move our attrition to a lower percentage. We are now in single digits when it comes to women attrition in after maternity. So I think, yes, we have seen good change. I think there is a lot of work to do. I'm sure we'll keep doing something. Like we said, we've spoken about this on the call that, caregiving, primary caregivers, how do we change the mindset of people, how to make sure that, we balance out the primary caregiver responsibilities as well, as not just for women, but otherwise. And that's why we're bringing a few more policies. But we have seen good number of change because of the policies that we have in the place.
Thank you. Any more questions, Janani?
Yes, there is. So there's Niveda asking if she has a 5-year career gap due to maternity. So I guess she's asking if, what are the possibilities of re-entering? Because the question doesn't say much, but I guess that is the question here.
Is that a question for me?
It could be answered by anyone, Munira. You could also take it. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I think, so the question, you said that 5 years of break after maternity, I think there are some great practices across organizations that I've seen. We have a very fantastic career restart program that we're building in, where we are looking at how we can bring women who've taken career breaks, and also, not just hire, but, give them a whole support of how to transition back to workforce by learning interventions, by guidance, by mentoring, by various other programs. So there are a lot of programs like that. And I see in my research that I've seen that a lot of other organizations are also doing work on career restart.
Great. Okay. Any other questions, Janani?
How important are conversations with self in planning your maternity return? And the
I
other
think-
one is, should I focus on upskilling or searching for the previous role? So this is from another person, I think she's from Niveta again, who's asking if after a break, should she, while in a break, should she focus on upskilling or searching for the same role?
If I could take the first question that is from Divya, how important are conversations with self in planning your maternity return? I think absolutely important. You need to set expectations for yourself and you should go beyond self also. See, it's important to keep your immediate ecosystem informed about what your plans are and also let them know about your passion for work. It's important to let them know that, hey, I'm going to go back and I need your support. And as Munira called out, ask for help and also have these conversations with yourself. Put in some do's and don'ts for yourself, saying that, hey, these are the things, and I'm sure it's not going to be easy to stick to these do's and don'ts, but at least have a framework saying that I will do these things. I will no prioritize my work under these situations. Under these situations, I will prioritize my family and it's going to be keeping changing all the time. Do not look for what we always call as a work life balance. There is nothing which is called a work life balance. You need to keep prioritizing and reprioritizing as you go for it. So I think that is what I would call out to Divya.
And just to add a little more to that, that's very well said, Saraswati. Uh, I would also build my trust system around me. Uh, have the right kind of nannies around me, support, build the trust with them, and say, yes, my family and myself, we are in good hands, and go all out to realize my dreams.
I can probably take the last point on should you focus on upskilling or searching for the previous role. I think it's a decision every individual will make. What I've personally found helpful is to go back to things as they were, because then at least you don't have to sort of learn something on the word go. You're going back to a similar support system and a setup. It does make it easier to transition back. That said, I personally also had the experience of changing roles fairly soon after getting back. So it's doable both ways. It's more in terms of what those skills are, what the job is, and really how set up are you to be able to take on a new responsibility at work, which is completely different to what you've done before, along with the transition back to work. Both paths work. I've seen people do both. There is no one way to do it.
And Nivita, I can see that they're all connected, the questions that you've asked. There's no right or wrong in all of it. Go out. We have a back in the game program, and I'm sure many other organizations have similar programs. So just go all out, connect with people. You're at the right forum, reach out.
Thank you. And that brings us to a close of this session. Thank you, wonderful ladies. It's been excellent. Great to meet all of you. I wish we had more time, but we have other exciting panel discussions waiting for the audience. So with this, I'd like to take leave and wishing us all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Usha.
you.
Thank
You
you,
and good
everybody.
luck to all the participants. You will all rock.
Thank you.
Thank you.